We started the show by saying Democrats refuse to make meaningful concessions to win the presidency. Same logic applies to Republicans. We said this last weekend. Donald Trump could have essentially ended the presidential race at the convention by picking Nikki Haley as his running mate. Instead, he chose JD Vance, firebrand senator from Ohio. Tim Alberta of The Atlantic reports that Republicans are having buyer's remorse. Most striking thing I heard from Trump allies yesterday was the second guessing of JD Vance, a selection they acknowledged that was born of cockiness, meant to run up margins with the base in a blowout rather than persuade swing voters in a nail-biter. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin is with us. Is that a fair critique, sir?
I don't think so. I've served with JD now for almost 2 years, and I don't feel he's a firebrand or bombastic. He's intelligent. He has integrity. He's got a heck of a story. He served our nation honorably as a U.S. Marine. And although he doesn't talk all the time in the conference, when he does say something, he's adding to the conversation. He's adding intelligent input. So that's what I know of JD Vance. Obviously, the chemistry with President Trump was excellent as well, and that's important too.
We've now seen JD Vance on a national stage, and obviously Hillbilly Elegy, the bestseller that he wrote, was interesting and became sort of a matter of cocktail conversation on the East and West Coast to understand Trump voters. But a lot of America doesn't know him. They're getting introduced to him now. There was the speech you and I were both at the RNC, and now he's been on the stump a couple of times by himself. We'll take a listen to some of his moments.
Democrats say that it is racist to believe, well, they say it's racist to do anything. I had a Diet Mountain Dew yesterday and one today. I'm sure they're going to call that racist. And hell, a lot of you are my family, actually. We're probably, if you count fourth and fifth cousins, half of you are probably related to me in this room. Anyway, we're going to talk about donuts all day. You can tell what I skipped lunch, so my mind's on donuts here. So I'm from Breathitt County, Kentucky, where a woman isn't fully dressed without her guns. I mostly write my own stuff. I'm not going off a teleprompter right now. You can probably tell that. If I totally screw it up, it's too late. No takebacks, right? Fundamentally, you're going to agree, hopefully, since you're here, you're going to agree, hopefully, with most of what President Trump and I want to do. We're going to get a good fried bologna sandwich right now. So I just
At one point, Fox News cut away from his remarks. Is he ready for prime time?
Well, again, first of all, you started out saying he's a firebrand, implying he's bombastic. That seems like a pretty measured approach. He's got a sense of humor. He's engaging. I think that'll appeal to an awful lot of voters, particularly here in Wisconsin. We just want decent people, friendly people, people who believe something that whether you agree or disagree with them, you generally believe that that's what they think. They're not just pounding sand. That's who JD is. So again, I personally found that pretty appealing the way he was presenting himself.
Well, firebrand in terms of his views, I think we can all agree some of the things he said on abortion and marriage and others appeal to a certain demographic. I'll leave it at that. Certainly what he said about the 2020 election and other places, not centrist. We can agree on that. I guess my point there, sir, was the delivery of those lines. If we made a mashup, we could make an equally sort of unflattering mashup of Kamala Harris. And I'm wondering if, given now that Kamala Harris is at the top of the ticket, if picking JD Vance wasn't an enormous missed opportunity. A Glenn Youngkin, a Doug Burgum, a Nikki Haley, somebody to appeal to the center now that Democrats have an enormous amount of wind in their sails.
I'm just not agreeing with your assessment here. I didn't hear any word sales coming out of JD. He was just trying to be personable there. But the extreme, by the way, the extreme position on abortion is held by Vice President Kamala Harris. She wants unrestricted abortion up to the moment of birth. What Republicans are saying is let we, the people, decide in each state at what point is it our responsibility to protect life inside the womb. That's where most Americans really are. It's not reported that way in the mainstream media. Republicans are more where the American people are. Democrats have the extreme position on abortion. If the media would report it honestly, I think Americans would be aghast. Really, Democrats' position on abortion.
I think you make a great point. The framing of the abortion issue is one which which favors right now, certainly, the Democrats.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.